Michael Francisconi. I work with Citygrid. I'm the platform director there. My job simply is to increase the amount of advertisers and the amount of publishers we have on both sides and to ensure that we're creating value and communicating that value to them.
Okay, so Citygrid, let's talk about, for those unfamiliar, Citygrid in general, not necessarily in mobile. Citygrid has launched over the last few years to, many have called it kind of a Google alternative and kind of the AdSense for local, where it's higher premium ad space and targeting. And it gives an alternative to anyone that's a publisher that wants to get up and start making and start monetizing their sites or properties. So how is that translating to mobile? It seems like in a lot of ways mobile might be even a more succinct home for something like Citygrid.
Yeah, I mean, our goal in terms of creating value for both publishers and advertisers is creating the best possible connection we can between a user and a business. And so I think those quality interactions are naturally trending towards mobile, so you will watch our network, I think, naturally and very quickly trend there as well. It's already starting to happen both on the publisher and on the advertiser side, both with interest specifically in kind of mobile-oriented campaigns and with mobile-specific publishers joining on the network more swiftly than traditional online publishers.
Interesting. So your publisher network consists of the people you're already working with online and then incremental, actually on both the publisher and the advertiser sides. I imagine it's seeded by the partners you already had, but are you seeing kind of mobile unique partners come on board? Yeah,
we... this slide says 250 publisher partners. We're about 300 live between web and Android and iTunes, the app stores. Mm-hmm. We've got about 2,500 developers actively kind of tinkering around with our API suite. So a majority of those are coming on in the mobile space. And I imagine as those get up and running and implemented and we set them to billable, you will watch, again, the network kind of shift towards mobile apps that are dedicated to kind of helping users find locations and businesses.
Nice. Yeah. So to the extent that you're public with some of your network performance, are there any metrics that you can give us on the ad performance you're seeing on mobile using online as a benchmark or using mobile non-locally targeted as a benchmark? Any kind of comparison you're comfortable giving?
Yeah, I can be vague about it, but hopefully communicate some value. We're seeing, the RPM to publishers is 2 or 3x what it is for our web publishers. So those that are, seeing great performance on mobile, and that's true of local mobile advertisers, kind of national mobile advertisers, and then non-local mobile publishers as well. So we're creating kind of value for anyone from Pandora, which is a non-local app, to your traditional Where, Urban Spoon, or Citysearch.
Sure. Yeah. Now, on the advertiser side, do you have a breakdown of, or do you have any sense of how it breaks down between national, local, and local advertisers?
Split pretty evenly. On the web, too, we've seen a lot of our advertiser base. I think we're up to around 800,000. A majority of that is made up of national franchises who have local presences, and that's, again, it's translating. We don't necessarily separate the advertiser base or the publisher base into mobile and web yet, but it's a pretty 50-50 even split. Sure. We see these large franchisees partners kind of generating most of the advertising in Citygrid. Yeah.
Now, for the local guys, you work with a lot of local media companies, right? Talk about who some of those are. Some of the Yellow Pages guys, others, right?
We've got a lot providing budget and resold advertising into the system, but more, I guess, exciting for us, and we'll probably make announcements about it in the next 2 weeks, is our private label reseller program, too. So our first is actually in the audience, user-friendly media. Mm-hmm. The second and third of which will probably be announced in the next 10 days, but that is the goal of the program, is to kind of manage the ad engine and the content side and the mechanics and engineering around all of this, and then hopefully go out to companies who are sales forces and then are reselling this when they didn't have the ability to previously.
Yeah, that seems like a great tool to kind of get up and running by plugging into Citygrid with a sales force that you have and kind of work with the assets that you're now providing. User friendly, your first partner. What are the types of attributes that you think what types of publishers have the attributes that you think are best suited towards what you're offering in that reseller program?
In terms of reseller partners specifically? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Someone who has probably a sales force who's been selling something that's non-traditionally local. So you look at anyone from radio sales forces to television to people with feet on the street who want a local advertising product to sell are probably really ideal candidates to get this off the ground quickly. Right. And then there's going to be a bunch of startups too. All the data we've seen coming out of this conference and SMX and others have said that the ad spend is going to double or triple. And so as a result, you're going to see upstarts who want an easy plug-and-play solution. And that's our hope, is to just provide that.
That makes sense. So moving from kind of a quantitative assessment to a qualitative one, are you seeing through this that the ad units themselves are evolving, or the formats that are more conducive to mobile? Click to call, Telenav has a really interesting, I used to use this as an example, they have a drive-to rate, which they're trying to educate the marketplace to kind of get over the click-through rate. Mm-hmm. We're talking about a device that's portable and it's location aware. That's an education process. But what are you seeing there?
The format's certainly evolving. For us, I think the unique part about Citygrid is that the content is the ad. So our profile page is our main advertisement or landing page. And as a result of that, we're trying to serve up for people we're trying to render a full profile page for publishers and mobile. So that creates a huge opportunity for like a Pandora, for example, that isn't local in nature, that's playing music for people, and from time to time they can serve up a local ad, and then instead of sending someone off to a Citysearch or Yellow Pages, they can create kind of what we saw with Jywire, a local experience within the Pandora app to convey information about a business, deals, etc. So the content is becoming the ad, the product is becoming the ad, the service is becoming the ad. I think group buying and deal sites are the first evolution of that, but we will be providing more kind of enhanced decision-driven content that will actually pay publishers for showing it.
Sure. So what are the different ways that you are monetizing those ads? I mean, in terms of the format, I mean, you're doing any click-to-call. I imagine there's a lot of CTR. You're doing CPMs. What is kind of the range?
It's all CTR. I mean, this is our standard mobile ad unit right now. We're also creating a custom 500 by 600 pop-up ad for some of our publishers. And then all of our ad product and our budget is available just like our places and listings data via API. So we allow publishers to take it and create custom units that are more tailored to their experience. I think one of the things we're finding in mobile is that it's hard to package kind of a forceful ad solution and say you have to display these 16 pieces of content in this way and make sure that you're driving a click to our URL versus saying, let's give you the data, you can parse it any way you want, format it any way you want, and make it integrate so it does work with a Foursquare or a Scavenger where a traditional ad unit wouldn't. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So let's switch over to the publisher side of the equation. Your publisher network, how big is it? Who are some of the examples of the companies you're working with?
Again, over 2,500 developers are tinkering around, and we hope that becomes the full number of the publisher network. We're around 250 right now, ranging from publishers that are local in nature to non-local in nature. And, you got big guys like Bing, Yahoo, MyCityWay, Where, Urban Spoon, Checkpoints, probably companies you've never heard of, and we hope you do, and then many others that you definitely have heard of as well.
And is that the majority of it? Is it apps? Is it mobile web? Is it both?
Majority of it is apps right now. We're starting to see more and more mobile web. Citysearch, being one of the owned and operated brands, obviously is running advertising across both its native apps and its mobile web presence. But we imagine that the market will shift to both and kind of split at some point.
Sure.
Yeah.
I agree that I think mobile web has a great deal of growth to be had based simply on the developer tools that are available, HTML5, other things that are having app-like functionality, and the economics are simply better.
Cost, you don't have to develop for multiple platforms, and you can get out there and running. And for certain brands out there, like banks or hospitals who don't have kind of a consumer-driven app, to create mobile landing pages is a much more kind of cost-efficient solution. If we can provide advertising for that experience as well, it's a win-win for everybody.
It's also more bang in the fact that you're reaching a wider swath of users versus segmented by iOS, Android, et cetera.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it seems also that a few years ago, there wasn't really the tool out there to kind of start monetizing as a mobile publisher. To some degree, Google AdSense for mobile was there, but I mean the economics there aren't as good. So what we're seeing now is it seems like a kind of emerging batch of mobile local ad networks. Which you guys are in that batch, and I think doing a good job differentiating. What are some of the kind of ad targeting methods that you're using to kind of gain that relevance to boost your CTRs and other ways that you're monetizing?
Look, I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg in terms of performance. We've just tipped our toe into the water into mobile advertising, and we're seeing, again, 2 and 3x revenue to publishers, and it's really just still based on where and what that the user's asking for, so pizza in what city, or even just purely based on location. So there's a lot we can do with contextual and behavioral targeting. We're building out a team to do that, and I know everyone in the industry in the network space is doing both of those things as well. So that's what I would say. But in terms of the monetization solution for developers, you were saying there's not a lot of them out there. I think the good thing about the platform is, again, the content is the ad. So anytime you're trying to introduce monetization into a mobile experience, a lot of these new startups particularly, monetization needs to be native. And when it is the content, it becomes that more effective. So if we can continue to deliver on that promise and then find ways to target better, it's only growth for everyone.
Well, that's a strong value proposition. So we're a few seconds over. So please join me in thanking Michael. Tobias, if you could come up.